Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Tyler Sweeney, and we have a special guest today. We have Stephen Nesbitt from The Athletic. Stephen, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for actually coming back.
I
You didn't run someone off.
I need to keep up the reputation. What are the guests of the year or something?
You were. That's
I
right.
won something,
You
yeah.
weren't a fanboy.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's a big deal.
That's something to live up to right there. Yeah.
I think I saw it behind you before you had to move. Hanging on the wall somewhere.
Yeah. I'm in my wife's office now. You see different literature here.
Yeah. So for sure. Welcome back. You recently wrote about MLB's realignments and stuff. And that's something Tyler and I want to talk about last week. Actually, we didn't get to it because we tend to say like, hey, we'll keep this about 50 minutes. And then an hour, 20 minutes, we're like, okay, we got to cut a topic out. That was the topic we cut out. And this week it makes a whole lot of sense. Let's bring you on. You wrote about it. Jim can't be on with us tonight. He's doing a fantasy football draft.
Yeah, priority. I had him right there.
Yeah, but I love it because he said he really wants to talk realignment. So the fact that we're talking about it and Jim can't makes it even sweeter.
Very true.
So, Ty, you want to talk about some realignment here?
Oh, I sure do. Stephen, why do you hate Pittsburgh so much? In your version of realignment, you put them in a division with the Mets, Phillies, and the Nationals. 3 pretty large markets.
Yeah, it was a tough job.
You said it would be like 93 all over again. You know what happened starting in 93? Misery.
Were things better back in the old division?
And also, I was born that year, so misery. Yeah, why do you hate us? Let's just start there.
Well, yeah, when I had to draw this up the other day, the background of it is the commissioner said on the Little League Classic broadcast that they are he basically said, yeah, we're considering expansion, which is not news. And he said, if expansion happens, it would come with realignment, which just makes sense from a numbers perspective. You can't really cram 2 more teams into 5-team divisions anymore and make that math work. And so, yeah, realignment needs to come. There are different forms it can take. And so when my editor said, hey, the powers above us want something on realignment, they'd love to know what this could look like. I said, well, Jason Stark did that. And then I looked and it was like 7 years ago. So I was like, okay, I guess there is some value in freshening it up. And they're like, well, Jim Bowden just did it 2 years ago. And I looked at his and I was like, oh, hold on, I completely disagree with the approach he took. So, okay, fine, I'll take my swing at it. And his it was fair. It was just an East-West, two new leagues. It was not reusing the American National. It was blowing up the whole system. And I was thinking back to NFL realignment in 2002. They added the Houston Texans and they realigned things. And they managed to do it in a way that really didn't cause that many ripples. You didn't have maybe one team switching conferences, a couple getting a new home, but mostly just drawing a team from each division into the new South divisions. And almost the whole map makes sense. Ultimately, Indianapolis is in the South. That doesn't make any sense, but it's because Miami said no. And so you're going to end up with something weird happening. But the map generally makes some more sense. And so when they asked me to write this up, I said, how can I do this without doing the whole like nuclear option where we're just saying American and National League are gone, the divisions are gone, and we're going to do it like basketball does. Basketball, that might be how you draw it up if you started the league today, but we have 120 whatever years of Major League Baseball and that history to try to, like, it's such a sacred thing in baseball. We're really going to blow it up in 2029, 2030 because the commissioner thinks that it's just the best way forward to get the right playoff 10 p.m. matchup. It seems unlikely to me. So when I drew that up, I did my best to keep the leagues as they are, not move too many teams across the leagues. I think I moved 2 of them. I think I moved Tampa to the National League and I moved Colorado to the American League. But other than that, it was limited. And the Pirates, I ended up, you could keep them in the Central, but all the teams really are packed right in the same area. And so it made sense, I thought, given that while Pittsburgh is not Midwest, it's not Midwest and it's not East Coast, but it sort of lives in the middle there. I think it could go either way. And if you're not going to do the sort of super conferences or super divisions of having both New York teams and Philly and Boston, like Jim's approach was, I think Pittsburgh moving back the other direction, back toward the east, makes a lot of sense. But you could argue it several different ways. Like I said, the map probably won't make perfect sense. My version of it makes like too much sense that it probably won't never ever work. But I don't hate Pittsburgh. I swear I don't. I only fled from there a couple years ago. I'm so sorry for having done that.
Sure. No, it's fair. We understand. You left Pittsburgh. You and Ben Charrington don't appreciate French fries on your sandwiches or salads. So
I really don't.
That's what
actually.
happened. See, you hate Pittsburgh. That's what it is. But no, and I'm bringing up the
Mayonnaise, I
map
just don't
now.
like that.
No, I have to say, like, there actually was a lot of praise on this on Twitter. Just the fact that like it made a whole lot of sense and you didn't make too many changes. So like, yeah, here it is right now. And as mentioned, like Tyler said, Pittsburgh's with the Mets and Philly and the Nationals. And yeah, like when I look at that too, we understand the constraints Pittsburgh has. And it's like, man, we will never, not that like the Pirates are really seeing any division titles as it is, but they'll definitely never see any then. So that makes, I think, a lot of Pirates fans sad.
Oh, we're cooked.
Yeah, I also want to shout out our graphics department for making this, because I put this together in like an hour. It was not that hard, and I wrote it up quickly. But I was like, can we please wait until graphics has a chance with this? Because once people see it, that's why there's positive feedback, because people are like, oh yeah, you could pretty much like draw a circle around all these divisions, like it makes sense geographically.
Yeah.
Where if you just look at a list of names, you're like, that doesn't make sense. Pittsburgh should stay in the Central, or Atlanta is still in the East. Like that's one thing people have argued is like that Atlanta division is pretty weird, right? It's got two Florida franchises that don't do well historically. You've got an expansion team, and then you got Atlanta, which in theory would just own this division. But a lot of people would argue they still belong in the East, and sure, but geographically they don't really. There are so many teams that are closer than Atlanta, including the likely new expansion team in Nashville or Raleigh are probably closer to that East footprint. So yeah, this is sort of where I landed.
I mean, like, in all reality, in all seriousness, it does make sense. Like, and it's something I think the owners would probably go for, and you might be able to speak on it just because travel costs here alone would probably save a good bit of money.
Yeah, if travel costs were like their top priority, then you would blow up the American National Leagues and just do this thing East and West. But short of that, if you're wanting to preserve some version of what we've had for a long time, and again, divisions have changed over the years, expansion teams teams have come and gone over the years. This is a way to take the current structure, I think, and just make that map more sensible. I think they would be. I think owners would largely be fine with this. I don't think they're. I think it would be difficult. This is not like sourcing. I'm just saying. I think it'd be difficult to get enough owners on board to totally blow up the American National Leagues. In the name of, like we said, the one example the commissioner gave was that 10 p.m. like division series matchup, and how it's like a bad time slot for either Boston or for Anaheim is the example he used. And I was like, yeah, but like, is that what's going to drive realignment? Is that one game? How much money is at stake with that one game?
True.
So I think he was just listing like possible ways that realignment would help make things make more sense. But I think this you don't have to win a whole lot of people over with this. It's saying, Pirates, are you going to throw a fit about moving? Maybe. But everybody else, like Tampa, and there's probably also some teams that they say, yeah, Tampa might not want to do this, or Atlanta might not like having Nashville in the same footprint as them and in the same division. We're already going to sort of be dealing with like markets coming up against each other geographically. But I wonder if there are some franchises maybe they're okay making upset for a little while, as long as it's going to pass through the owners as a whole.
Right. And so you bring up Nashville and potentially Raleigh and such. No, I thought was interesting was Manfred more or less said, like, they've been discussing this for years. Like, it's almost inevitable, like, realignment will happen. But of course, expansion is going to happen. So when do you maybe realistically see this all coming to fruition? Expansion teams coming into play, realignment coming into play. I mean, how far away are we realistically from this being?
We're still a long way away from the teams taking the field, but there is so much work that has to go into it beforehand. So I just wrote another story this last week about expansion, where I talked to the groups working in 6 different cities, about what their progress is. What are you working on today? And those cities were Nashville, Raleigh, and Orlando in the east, Salt Lake City, Portland, and Austin in the west. And it's interesting to hear just where those cities are at, because in theory you could be working either sort of in secret right now and not be going public, and you could roll out there at your Vancouver and you just have like an incredible bid you roll out all of a sudden. But it's getting pretty late in the game to do that, even though the commissioner and baseball have not announced that bidding is open. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen before you could possibly submit a realistic bid. And so as far as the timeline, the only thing we know pretty concretely is that the commissioner wants to have 2 cities selected by 2029. So if you work back from that, there's going to be a period of time in which they need to open the bidding. There's going to be a period of time where they're going to need the owners to approve whoever is selected. There's going to be a period of time before that, but the bidding window in which they're just studying what should we be looking for expansion, what would realignment look like, and before all that needs to be a vote with the owners to even decide to expand. They could all say, yeah, $5 billion in expansion fees sounds nice, but we'd rather not have this pie sliced into 32 pieces. We'd rather stick with 30. Like, in theory, that could be a hurdle. I don't think it's going to be, because those expansion fees are so large, and because all this should by then come with having a more centralized local TV structure. But there are a lot of things that they have to get through. And so one of the first is going to be this next CBA, which could end up with a really protracted negotiation. We don't know how far each side will go to fight the fights, but one of the fights they'll need to have is expansion. And it's easy to see why expansion would be a good thing for both sides. More major league jobs, yes, but also that means more money to the owners, and the players never like it when more money goes to the owners, and they want pieces of that. So it's going to be one of those bargaining chips. And so there are parts of CBA negotiation that will need to deal with expansion for this to move forward. And so I think it's probably going to be pretty quiet until then. I can imagine the one thing we maybe could hear about before before the CBA negotiations, that perhaps they could start like a committee to look into expansion, which would really kick things off. But until that, I don't think you're going to see anything too official happening. And so that means if they don't pick the teams till 2028, maybe get them approved by the time the commissioner is gone, then you'd expect that you're probably looking at, once you build ballparks, takes a couple of years, unless they want them to start a franchise playing in a minor league ballpark in the area, which doesn't seem like a great way to sort of birth a franchise. But
Why
it's
not?
possible.
There's precedent now.
There
Right?
is, unfortunately, almost there is precedent. They could do it if you just want to get started as soon as possible. But you'd imagine they'd love to just like have the Salt Lake City franchise begin in the actual new ballpark. But that's going to take 3 years to build and get all that developed. So, I mean, maybe 2032 we're looking at realistically, or 2031 maybe. It's going to be a long time, but there still is like a lot of, the chains are always moving, I think. And that's what sort of I'm interested in. I think it's a fascinating conversation. I think a lot of people, a lot of fans, a lot of reporters don't care about this. It's so far in the future. And yet I love to see the incremental progress that's being made, because in a decade, 2 cities that don't have baseball, don't have Major League Baseball, are going to have them. They're going to be stops on like the Major League tours. The people who have gone around the country and been to every Major League ballpark will suddenly have a couple more they have to visit. Same thing with Las Vegas coming in. And I think it's a fascinating sort of thing from a fandom angle, from a sort of local impact angle, what it's like to have a Major League Baseball team come to your town, and just like a business angle for the ownership, for the franchise valuations, for the future of the game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I just say like 31, 32 really isn't all that far away, realistically. I mean, also, if you really think about it, like that's probably about the time the rebuild for the Pirates will be completing. So, like when they're ready to win, there might be a whole new division here.
In what world does that never make sense? Once Skeens is gone, and that, oh man,
what does that? What are you talking about? That makes perfect sense. Like Tyler said, what happened in '93, Nesbitt?
Yeah, you're setting us up. Are there any other possibilities other than Nashville or Raleigh or anywhere that's kind of heating up as a hotspot that could be a place for
Yeah,
expansion?
so I wrote about Orlando.
Hmm.
I
The
don't think it's a
Dreamers.
very realistic. Yeah, the Dreamers. I don't think they're very realistic compared to the two. The two in Nashville and Raleigh make a lot of sense, both because they're very popular areas. Nashville is it's got pro sports there already. It's got good support for their pro franchises. It's got the whole entertainment district. It's just a big city that would have a lot of great energy for Major League Baseball. That what we don't have there yet is the three big important things, which is where is your stadium going to be, who's your owner going to be, and do you have any sort of public funding? It's very unlikely baseball is going to pick one of these bids that doesn't have any public-private partnership, as they call it. And Salt Lake City's had 900 million um, uh, sort of allotted from the state legislature to go to helping build a ballpark. Portland is 800 million. So like it's very sort of normal thing in this day and age for them to sort of go half and half or close to it for the building of a $2 billion ballpark. And Nashville doesn't have that one yet, so that's something to watch. But there's still time, certainly. Raleigh, the interesting one there is that they do have the money all squared away. Tom Dundon is the Hurricanes owner, and he also just bought. He's part of the group buying the Portland Trailblazers, and they still want to bring a baseball team. So there's been a lot of. I think over the years, there's been more thought that Charlotte would get a team, and that makes. I mean, they do have more pro sports presence in that town. It is sort of like the corporate hub of the state. And yet, when the person with all the money wants it in Raleigh, and also the sort of like local and state government seems to be backing the Raleigh movement. That becomes a much more realistic option. I think most people would come to believe. I think that's when most people's reaction from reading my story is that like, oh, Raleigh, I didn't realize they had something going here. They kind of got a little bit of activity and some momentum there. So that's an interesting one there. The other one people always bring up is Montreal. I wrote a big feature on Montreal a few years ago is mostly about their effort to get the split city thing with the Rays going that MLB eventually put the kibosh on. They had a committee that said like, no, we're not going to do this. Stu Sternberg was like, this is the future, and the baseball's like, no, not the
Which is
future. Figure out
stupid.
your ballpark.
Yeah.
And so I wrote about that and how when that folded, Steve Bronfman, who was the guy who was going to be sort of funding all this from the Montreal thing, I think it just has taken a step back and like, okay, this is the other problem with like taking on an expansion team is you have to pay a $2 to $2.5 billion expansion fee. Or if you take on a relocation, you do not have to pay that. Or take on a split city plan, you do not have to pay that. And so I don't think Montreal has necessarily the funding on that side lined up. And they also definitely do not have as much sort of government support, people who are willing to just hand out public money and be it sort of as liberal with allotting public money for a baseball team and bringing a baseball team here. So I don't see Montreal. There's just no activity there.
Yeah.
There's no real active effort bringing a team there. So it could happen. I just think by now, I think you'd have to have something going.
No, I mean, again, interesting. So, and again, like tying it back to the Pirates here. I know Tyler has some more beef with your realignment. It makes sense, and again, as a great, I think what you have here going makes a whole lot of sense. Again, like you're trying to keep the tradition alive, the AL, NL, not making too much movement here. I have the AL screen up here also. Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, Minnesota, like that all makes sense also. But Tyler,
Yeah, and it's not really a beef with Stevens realignment idea here. It's more of just a thought I have, and maybe something to help baseball a little more. Is I really, really think if we're going to go nuclear option, like you mentioned earlier, let's just model it after the NFL. Let's just put the same cities in the same divisions. That way we can just continue to hate the
Yeah.
same cities. Let's just go forward with that. I mean, in my case, I despise Cleveland. I think the world will be a better place if Cleveland got nuked. Is that a little extreme? Yes. But I don't like Cleveland. That's the sports fan in me. I want to play them in baseball every year as well. And I want to keep building on that rivalry. Right now, it's just not really an option. Like the Guardians are just another team to me. I still like to hate them, but I think it would be so cool to just have, like, if the Reds, Pirates, throw the Guardians in there and screw it. Let's put the Orioles in there as well. Let's go all AFC North with the MLB. Do it in other divisions as well. Like, why not? Let's create those
No, I mean,
rivalries.
so if they want to just, again, as we've said, like blow up the whole American National League and throw that all away, I'm for it. I don't care. I'm like, I'll watch baseball for a lot of years, no matter who's in what division. And so if your priority is the travel schedule and to truly be like, let's travel less, let's make this easier, then 100% it should be that way. It should be Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Phillies. And now, are the owners going to like that? No, they will not appreciate that. 4 big markets here, only 2 of them are going to make it in, right? In most years, it's
Sucks to be them.
not good for them. But also, it sucks to be them. But they do have a lot of sway, right?
Yeah.
These are not owners that are just like seeing exactly the same as Bob Nutting is, or another sort of like mom and pop type ownership group, which is fewer and far between here. Like the Rays, what they've had. And so they totally could do that. I mean, if you're just going off of what the commissioner has said, like hints that he's given, is really has been more Western and Eastern Conference, or sort of like the basketball model or whatever. And if you do that and you pull up the map, sure, you can make that make a lot of sense. You just sort of basically like the Mississippi, you just cut that off, and I think it would make like there's some weird stuff where I think maybe St. Louis would be west and the Chicago's would be east, or maybe it's Kansas City would be west and St. Louis would be east. But like it's a little bit arbitrary there, and it would make the Western Conference so much larger than the Eastern as far as like the footprint you're covering. But once you cut it down to say, okay, is it how large are the divisions we're doing there, and what 2 18 divisions I guess it would be in each conference. It certainly can work, and that's the way someone I think local in Pittsburgh tweet at me like, they're going to realign geographically. Doesn't Cleveland and Pittsburgh have to be in the same division? It's like, yes, if that's what their main focus is. I tend to think it's not going to be their main focus. I think they're going to end up looking at this conversation and saying, how can we do this, but in a way that doesn't completely throw away the leagues as we know them. But I'm all for chaos, man. I love it. Like it's not personal for me. I think it'd be sweet to see like Tigers, Cleveland, Pirates, Cincinnati, stuff all them, the Chicago teams, stuff all them in like a big old division together. It'd be pretty sweet.
No, I like get rid of the Tigers, put the Orioles in there. Let's go full AFC North.
So like I like the idea
geographically, we have to.
The city rivalries, like that does make sense. But so I do want to ask here also, and I think you kind of answered it to some level. But and again, like there's the argument now, like the NL and AL, it's all the same now with the rules. There's no more DH and such. It's all the same. It doesn't really matter. There's no really impact in the leagues. Just make it like an East and West. I mean, do you foresee that they are probably going to stick to still like traditional AL NL stuff, or is it going to maybe head to like what there's no difference now with AL and NL. Let's just go ahead and make 2 divisions. Also, with that said, like divisions, like we'll have divisions. There's going to be 2 separate leagues, almost sides.
Right. My hunch is that they would want to try to keep things as they are, but that's not anything more than a hunch. I'm not reporting off of like what ownership sources are saying or anything like that. If they're all in favor, if they see the value proposition in just geographically realigning, like with that as the sole priority, and maybe they do, then sure, why wouldn't they do that? And pass that through, and they could explain why, like dollars and cents wise, it makes more sense. And like I said, if you're starting up a league today, you probably would do it that way.
Sure.
But I think there will be some cities where it just doesn't make that much sense, or they're going to be put in a much worse spot as far as at least the immediate level of competition they face. It's really hard to look at that current sort of AL East area and be like, yeah, they'd be fine with that. Yeah, it'd be fine. Phillies, Yankees,
Right.
like it'd be awesome seeing how often those great teams would play. But Yeah, it's hard to see them being cool with how often those teams are going to be left out of the dance.
I just don't think I can get to the East-West part of it. Just because, like, LA and New York, I need those teams in different, I guess, conferences. Like, I don't want both New York teams in the East and both LA teams in the West. I like the way it is now with that, and same with the NFL. Like, the way the NBA is with it, the Clippers and the Lakers in the same. I don't like that. So I kind of lean with Steven on that, where keeping it similar to the way it is right now, I think I'd be cool with. And I don't know. East and West just isn't for me, I don't think.
Sure, make sense of this. So you want you don't want
I
cities
want
in the same. You want teams in the same
correct.
city to be in the same league. So you like them to
Correct.
be separate, like we have today, like the football is.
Hmm.
But you're saying specifically in Pittsburgh, you want Cleveland. You just want to make sure
Yes,
Pittsburgh has its closest rivals.
I just want to play Cleveland because I want to
Okay,
run my mouth to all the Browns and Guardians fans,
I'll try
and I
to
want to jump
work
on
on
here and
that.
yell at them. So yeah, get that done, Steven.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways you can be more like opportunistic in how you do it. Like again, I redrew the lines in a way that I tried to make the fewest, like basically the fewest changes, fewest significant changes. But yeah, I think there are ways you could look at it and be like, well, listen, this would make more sense if Cleveland was in this division and I don't know, the Brewers or something were in the AL Central or whatever. But it also gets difficult when you're trying to protect certain rivalries. Like people, if you listen to fans around the country, they're like, you can't change Yankees, Red Sox. They got to stay in the division. You can't change Cubs, Cardinals. You can't change. A lot of people say that the Texas teams, Houston and Arlington. No one calls them Arlington, Houston and Texas. And then out west, you have it's the Dodgers, Giants that you can't change. But really, like Dodgers, Padres is awesome right now too. So
For sure.
you not really change those. So when you try to protect some of these rivalries, it gets even more difficult, and it makes a team like the Pirates, who doesn't have those massive rivalries, even more kind of expendable when you're trying to look for one team to fit over here instead of over here.
Yep, that's what we are.
But the Rays too.
But it makes sense, and that's the thing. Like, and that's why I think a lot of people did like your map here, because it did protect a lot of rivalries. It just made a whole lot of sense. There's a lot of the teams were close. Don't think about travel, right? And I think that's what's kind of fun too, is like you can actually travel. Like most of these divisions, like you can make a day trip easily to watch, where it's not like you have to travel across the country to go to your division now. So yeah, makes a lot of sense there. What do you think was like the most controversial switch on your map, if you had to say?
The most questions were raised probably just about what am I doing with like Colorado versus the two teams I flipped for Colorado and Tampa, flipped leagues, and I mean Colorado doesn't seem like a AL South team. If you're drawing a circle or box around them, like you can make it make sense, but they feel like a West team. They aren't particularly South either. So the thing is, like, not a lot of people are fighting for the Rockies. Like, not many people are looking out for the Rockies. They're like, no, don't
Right.
do that to my Rocks. And they could probably fit in anywhere. But the big fair argument is like, would you really have the Rays and the Marlins in the same division? Like, would baseball really want that? And like I mentioned earlier, would they really want them in a division with an expansion team and the Braves? The Braves would go from playing a ton of interesting division games with the Mets and Phillies is currently constructed, the Nats when they're good, the Marlins who are always kind of average-ish, and now
The
they're
2 years
just
they
playing
choose
like
to.
now they're just playing like one would think a much like simpler, easier schedule that they should be able to dominate operating the way they are. So that one that one's probably the one you look at and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I like how that stacks up. But if you're doing it geographically, I'm not sure really how to do it any differently where they're going to get a great setup, even if you put Kansas City or Denver in that division instead of the Rays. Atlanta still looks like a behemoth.
Want to briefly touch on Bubba?
Yeah.
Bubba.
We got to
Yeah.
talk Bubba.
Before we let you go, you also wrote about Bubba, but he made his second appearance, and Man, does he look good. What are you thinking about Bubba right now?
Dude, he's really good. He would not have salvaged this season, but boy, would it have been nice to see him up all year. They bring him up at a point where the rookie of the year is still in the cards next year. Like all the things that they kind of botched with Paul Skeens, with not bringing him up in time to get a draft pick, which bringing him up early enough that he got a year of service. Like they kind of got the worst of both worlds there.
Right.
And Chandler, it sets them up next year to have him opening day roster, opening day rotation. Would you imagine how much weight it takes off a guy's shoulder if you tell him going into spring training or going to the offseason, like you are in our rotation next spring, barring something going significantly wrong? Like this dude just had to, you tell a guy going into spring training, you have a chance to fight for this rotation, and he goes out there and does all the things you asked. The results weren't great in an inning or whatever, but it's like he does the thing you asked, and then you're like, all right, keep working on it, keep practicing. And he is so deflating. You might have going to play at AAA after that if you thought you'd be in like the opening day roster, be close to that. And a lot of people are talking about it. Whether or not the team did anything wrong there, the talk around baseball is Bubba Chandler's ready. It's going to be Chandler. It's going to be Skeens. It's going to be Jones. It's going to be Keller. The Pirates had the rotation, and they do. And to get sent to AAA and then not perform particularly well, so then they have a reason to leave you down. So he's showing frustration. The various reporters who talked to him, I think he was pretty honest this year that like wasn't what he was hoping would happen. And then you lose this, you lose that, and then you look at him like, is this guy even like belong in the majors? Does he deserve to be up here? Okay, we're going to bring him up in like a role that's sort of like sidelining him. And he's shown in 2 outings like exactly why he could have been up here all along, and why like you might just want to like trust these guys, give them a chance, because we all lived through Tyler Glasnow getting up here and being lost. We lived through Mitch Keller getting up here and getting lost, being absolutely lost. Frankly, most of these guys who came up for the Pirates like just were kind of lost for a while. And to have a guy like Jones come up and not look lost, to have Skeens come up and immediately be dominant and never take a step back. Bubba Chandler, whatever they're doing there, they're figuring something out about having guys be actually major league ready when they step on the mound. And he's showing that right now, and I think it gives you every reason to believe for next year. It's just a shame that this year has gone the way it did. He wasn't able to impact the major league roster at all until now, when it doesn't really matter. And so the focus is on 26. That's fine considering where things are now. But 25 was a lost cause, and that's it's a shame. The one thing I will say for him is what guys always talk about, sort of taking that next step in the majors, is can you get left-handed hitting out? And he has done it so far. He does pretty much just throw 2 pitches to them. I mean, it's 2 good pitches. It's a 99-mile-an-hour fastball and a really good changeup. But interested to see if he needs to start developing something in the offseason, or continue developing a pitch he can throw to lefties in sort of all situations, just so he's not getting predictable, because that's the bugaboo a lot of guys face as they try to take sort of that next step in the majors, is realizing like for some reason hitters at this level, left-handed hitters just rake against righties, and they'll catch up to his fastball. They'll target his changeup. If he can get a third pitch going, as boring of a thing to talk about as that is, I think it would do a lot for keeping them off balance.
So what you're saying is, because he did throw a lefty in high school and struck out the side, and since you also wrote about the dominance of lefties, he should just start throwing lefty
He
now.
threw lefty? I didn't know this.
That's apparently a story. Now, I feel like the Bubba Chandler stories are becoming like a thing. So I don't know how true a lot of these are, but the word on the street is he threw lefty in high school and struck out the side.
That's great.
So just throw lefty then, right? And be a dominant lefty.
I choose to believe it. I absolutely choose to believe it.
I'm not going to doubt Bubba Chandler at this point. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. Tyler, anything else you wanted to ask us to talk about?
I think we've taken enough of Steven's time today. As I
go home,
there.
Go back to your other room, get some rest. Get ready for your trip tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
But yeah, appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to you soon.
Love you. They get that?
Love you too. Oh no, we're still going. You can go.
Oh, Oh, you guys are staying? I just
Oh,
get
my
kicked
bad.
out.
Yeah, we're kicking you out.
Oh, okay.
Now it's the Cool Kids
Yeah.
Club.
Well, that's
Sorry.
fair. Enjoy the Ohio State game.
Thank you. Enjoy your vacation.
It's gonna be a wild one. I'm a big Ohio State
hope.
fan. People know that about me.
Right.
Everyone knows.
Do you guys have sweet stuff on the wall behind you before I go? Skins. No, yeah, not you, Neon over there. No, the guy with actual memorabilia on the wall.
Yeah. I got a Jason Kendall bat.
Yes, that's that's awesome.
I have, if I can move, my bat that has my name, my skiing stuff, and then a bunch of other stuff.
Is that O'Neal Cruz
and my
bobblehead, or is that like
bobbleheads.
Polanco back there? Who's that,
That
over your
is-
right shoulder in the swinging?
That one's Kutch.
No, two over from that.
That is Cruz.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that one's
Did you,
Cruz.
speaking of Polanco, did anyone see the picture that someone tweeted yesterday? It was Junior Caminero with
Yes.
Starling Marte and Greg Polanco. I like,
I was
ooh,
like,
I
the
sent that
power
to,
should have been all over him.
I sent that to Adam Berry, who's now covering the Rays. I was like, dude, this takes me back here. Because that was like, I don't know what year that was, but that looks like the Starling and Gregory I remember.
Right. Yeah.
The
No,
good old
I
days.
saw that too. And I was immediately sad because I'm like,
You guys remember? You
Why
remember
couldn't
that
they bring him
Miami
to the
series
Pirates?
where Polanco hit his first home run and like extra innings or whatever it was, and I totally
Yeah.
thought he arrived.
Out there
so
looking
fun.
like a young giraffe running around.
Legitimately.
Yeah.
Dude, great dude though. Great guy. Always thought he'd put it together.
He kind of did, like a little bit.
No, I mean he wasn't bad. He didn't totally
Yeah.
flop. He just never quite as much as
was
he
never
thought.
that
And then he gets that bad injury running to second, sliding to second, and then Starling just keeps going.
He's having a
Could
great
be back
year.
next year.
Pirate.
Bring
next
him
Bring
year.
him
back,
home.
man.
Bring him home.
Kutch, Marte, and bring back Polanco. Still might be a better outfield.
Ask Mercer to come back down, play some shortstop.
There
We
it
got
is.
Mercer.
Yeah,
We got Jared Triolo.
true.
Isn't he like 27, 28 already?
Yeah, it's like Mercer.
Good luck with that. All right, guys.
All right. Well,
Appreciate you.
we'll see you. Before you do go, here's Tyler putting up his
God.
his bats. So there's that. All right.
Bye, Steven.
Well, Ty. I had to do it. That was fun. That's good stuff.
That was. Are my bats even?
So I did love. I thought about we've always like just done a show with him.
Yeah.
It was like, so are we done?
Yeah, he doesn't want to go pack for vacation. I get it.
Yeah, I do get that. Anywho, yeah. So realignment, some Bubba talk. Which, by the way, Bubba does look so good.
He's looked really good. I
said last night, I was like, let's have a conversation. And I feel like maybe today's a good time to have a conversation. Now it's two games. We came into an advantageous part, right? Came in relief, not facing the top of the lineup yesterday and such. But it's still, he went 4 innings both times, very efficient, throwing strikes. His stuff plus looks good. Tyler, is there a chance this is like Paul Skeens is 1A and Bubba's 1B?
I mean, no.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because Paul Skeens is the greatest pitcher I've ever seen in my life. You're not getting 2 of those.
He is, but I guess what I'm alluding to is there a chance that Bubba's looking like he could be an ace of a team, and therefore he could be an ace of a team? He would be the 1B.
Right.
You,
like if
you
Paul
have
Skeens
2
were
aces.
not here.
Right.
Yeah.
You have 2 aces, like legit aces on this team right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility. Everything we've seen from him at this point has been outstanding. Now, granted, he is in a very advantageous situation the way they're using him at this point. Like he's coming out of the pen. They're picking the spots he comes in. It's limited. He hasn't had to face an order the third time through. Like, they're being careful with him, but that's not a negative because he still has to get these guys out. And the way he's gotten these guys out has been very impressive. He's not going out there and getting like they're not hitting 103 mile an hour line drives that are just falling into Jared Chirola's glove. He's getting dudes out. They're not squaring him up. He's getting whiffs. He's using it pretty much his whole arsenal, a good bit at least. He hasn't done much with the curveball yet, and the slider probably hasn't been fully shown. But that, I think you also can look at as a positive because he hasn't really shown his full arsenal to the extent that he could. He's flashed it, but I don't think he's really shown it yet. Yeah, everything that we've seen to this point looks really good. And I think one of the impressive things is I think the command's been really good so far as well.
It has. It's what Nesbitt said leading up to this. And it was the talk. And again, I mean, I'm on the side too. Like, I think he should have been up here already. Unfortunately, the Pirate season went nowhere, and there was no incentive to get him up here. There was no incentive to make it a Paul Skeens run because there was nothing to play for at that point in time. And it was at that point of time also where he started to not be able to make it 5 innings, not be able to throw strikes. Like the command was gone. What's going on with Bubba? I mean, it's okay. It's 1 start, it's 2 starts, it's 3 starts. Okay, here's a 4th start that's good. Here's a 5th start that's good. Now the 6th start's bad. It's probably coming in a mixed bag, and then it just continues and continues and continues. And you I don't know if there's an argument now. I mean, he's kind of proving like he's not doing it here. Is he going to do it up here? And I mean, again, I was at the point too, come August 15th, you bring him up here because I think the talent still is there. Let him develop. And if he struggles, he struggles, but at least he's doing it in the major leagues, blah, 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 blah. Now, listen, it's 2 games. I get that. It's 4 innings each time. I get that. Right. So we are way ahead of ourselves right now. What I am alluding to and talking about though, is he has been for those 2 appearances just really good. And it's for all the struggles he had, none of that is carried over. I'm not this. How is this the same guy we were talking about? We're having efficiency. We have strikes being thrown. We have, I mean, he's painting the corners. Talk about that command and that fastball. And also, he's averaging 98.8. I'm sorry, 98.7 on his fastball so far. Now, obviously, he hasn't pitched 100. He doesn't break down. He can kind of carry that. But again, this guy's pumping triple digits just time and time again. And wow.
And again, I haven't seen the full arsenal. He's still not he's getting whiffs. But you mentioned the efficiency. He's getting outs early and counts as well right now. And a lot of that's probably teams are just swinging early. They do a Paul Scene sometimes because they don't want to get down in the count because he's going to strike you out. But once we get to that point, and we're going to see what happens here as this month goes on. He's probably going to get some starts here, I'd assume, in a couple weeks. But I'm very anxious to see him in a 5th inning. I want to see him start a game. I love what they've done with him to this point, and I do think the Pirates have done well with. And let me rephrase. I agree with you that he should have been up a while ago, and I do think that kind of hindered some of the development early in the year. At some point, you're just not going to give a crap and not want to be there anymore. I get it. It happens.
That's still a negative. I mean, hey,
it is, but I get it. But he's
you got to do it.
Dude. I know.
I get it.
If I'm Bubba Chandler, I'm going to bitch up a storm.
Do better. I mean, I get that side too.
He did. He did better. And they just said no.
Yeah, I guess. It's well, then what's the point?
Yeah, he was lights out for a month, and they were like, no, not yet. So, yeah, I do understand that to an extent. All that being said, I'm very excited to see him start a game, get through an order a couple times, see what it's like. You're not getting put in the most advantageous spot every time. I think he's going to succeed with it. I think what Steven said earlier was also interesting about how he attacks lefties. That's where I want to see that curveball really start to work. I think he's only throwing it 8% of the time at this point. Something he can mix in a little more, but so far so good, man.
So far, so good. And so I'm with you. He should have been up here earlier. Once you cross that threshold and he wasn't performing and stuff, I was perfectly okay. I felt it was doing him a service. Once you're in like the middle of July, you're doing him a service of waiting
Right.
till August 15th. Because like, how terrible would it be to have him come up here on the end of July where he can't do? It's way too late to make any sense for this year. And now by a month, you burn his possibility of making incentive next year. You know what I mean? Like, you are now, by waiting till August 15th to bring him up, to allow him to go ahead and win that bonus next year, which is $1 million. And of course, there's something in the Pirates if that happens, right? They get a draft pick and such. But like, you're allowing him, and just like the Mackey article that came out recently with Paul Skeens, like there's incentive for him to win MVP, or not MVP, Cy Young right now. If he does, he gets $2.5 million. Now, unfortunately for Bubba, although don't tell Bubba that, because he believes he should be the opening day starter next year. But unfortunately for Bubba, Paul Skeens exists. So there's a chance he's probably not going to win Cy Young because Paul Skeens exists. But again, like, now you're allowing him the opportunity to start winning those. Like, he wouldn't be able to win next year because he wasn't rookie eligible next year to win, So like, now you're allowing him to do so. So that's why I feel like it was a service actually at that point to wait till now. But now that they have and he's up here, I do appreciate that they're doing it in the bullpen this way. I think this is the way you kind of grew him into that role. And also, you have other arms that you have interest in, like Braxton Ashcraft and Burrows and
we do not talk enough about Braxton Ashcraft. My God.
We don't, and I'll change a little bit tonight. But that's also why it's like there's other guys that you have a lot of interest in. You got to find ways to get all of them. So I'm perfectly okay with how they've done Bubba entering the majors.
And you have, like, this season's done. It's over. It's been over. You have to develop these guys while also being careful with them. Because the last thing you want to do is have a Johan Oviedo situation where he's throwing the most innings that he's ever thrown in a season that's lost.
Yep.
Again, that's what I do like what they've done with the majority of their pitchers this year. The way they've handled them. I do like a lot of what they've done there.
I can't argue it.
That's the only compliment I will give this team this year.
We argued last year that maybe, and of course that was also when the Pirates were in it, but like, what if you brought up Ashcraft last year into the bullpen? Time and time again, credit you. We've definitely all talked about this, about the Brewers. They've developed guys by putting them in the bullpen, and then turning them into starters after. And it's like, what if you got Braxton Ashcraft some MLB experience? Like, you're actually facing major league hitters to get some major league outs. And that's a way of like watching his innings limit and such last year and whatnot. And like, that's ultimately kind of what they did this year. This year, they featured like the bulk reliever a little bit even more than last year, like the Luis Ortiz role last year, where that became Carmen Mlodzinski and Braxton Ashcraft, like two guys, this year that are being utilized for that. Now that Bubba's here, it's Carmen and Bubba, some degree. But now Ashcraft's in the rotation. Such, I like the way they've transitioned, Ashcraft into doing this. It's like now they seem to be doing that with Bubba, and it's a good way of getting them acclimated to major leagues, then get them into that for like the next step of their development. And you see what like Braxton Ashcraft's doing with that. He came up here and he was playing very well in the bullpen role, and now he's starting. And is he 1C?
Like, the guy's got a 2.70 ERA. Actually, what is it now? Is it still 2.58? Sorry. He's down to a 2.58 ERA, a 2.45 FIP. Like, this is not fake. Just pumping 97 with the fastball. The pitch mix has been good. Like, Braxton Ashcraft, he's a dude.
He gave up one run today, right?
Yes.
So he's given up two. So once he's moved to a starter role, he's given up 2 earned runs in 15.2 innings.
He's a dude.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, 19. 3 runs in 19 innings. because I guess his first start was only 3.1. So that like, yeah,
Striking out over 8 per 9. Again, it's going to come down to the health with him. Obviously, you got to try to keep him healthy. And
which is why
really,
you
like,
watch the innings.
but if this guy can stay healthy, like, I think the term a number 2 pitcher gets overused a good bit because there's just not many of them. It's weird. A lot of guys are either like aces or more bulk guys. He could legitimately be like a number 2, like a 3.30 ERA guy that's just solid. He's got the stuff. It's just always been health.
He's had this stuff, and that's the thing, right? Like this is also something that just come along. He's had this stuff. He just can't stay on the field and be healthy enough to really showcase it, and that's why he never really has been like that guy in the top lists. But he's been seeing some time in the top list, of recent, and now that he's here, like you mentioned, Tyler, I mean, it's over 50 innings pitched now in the major leagues.
He's a one WAR pitcher, like over a 1 WAR pitcher right now. He's a 4-win pitcher if he could ever throw 200 innings. Well, I know
52.1 innings pitched, 45 hits, 15 walks, 48 strikeouts with a 2.58 ERA, and like you mentioned, a 2.45 FIP.
And like the strikeouts and walks, like it's not out of line with what he did in the minors.
Right.
It all looks just normal. Again, it's just the health. Can something go our way here? Like, can something just fall our way? Keep this guy healthy.
Now that can be TBD, but like it does just show, and it's not. It is what it is. The term "the pitching factory" has been used, a bit here and there for the Pirates, and like they just kind of show it. There's Paul Skeens, there's Mitch Keller, there's Johan Oviedo, there's Bubba Chandler, there's Braxton Ashcraft, there's Johan Oviedo now. There's still Mike Burrows, who's also showing like what he is, and he doesn't have the talent
Jones
of a lot of these guys. Right, I'm not there yet. Like he doesn't have a lot of talent as a lot of these guys, but he's certainly solid. I mean, he's a very good back end piece for a lot of guys. And then, like you just said, there's Jared Jones is going to come back from injury at some point. You are seeing. I mean, Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens. We don't have to. There's no question. We're moving on. There's Bubba Chandler. There's Oviedo. There's Ashcraft. There's Burrows. Of all these guys we're talking about right now, is there potential Jared Jones is in the bullpen next year?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
but also, like,
yeah,
I feel like he's the most
there is, but I don't think because
risky
of
starter in the sense that like he's built for a bullpen. He still needs that third pitch. He gets away with it enough, but like there's Doug always coins the guy that gets injured gets kind of like left behind, forgotten of. I don't think people are going to forget about Jared Jones, but he's probably not starting off the year healthy. These guys are, and they're showing that like they're worthy. Like who's getting kicked out for Jared Jones? I don't know. I guess
Keller.
things always work out, but like in a perfect world right now, I'm alluding to of just like there's 6 or 7 really good, not just depth, but really good pitchers.
We had this conversation last year, and I feel like the year before that as well. This all looks fun
not
and
the year
pretty.
before.
No, we did.
Because the year before was after Johan and Mitch were the only 2 starters, and Johan was out. Not the year before.
They had drafted Skeens at that point. Like Skeens was there; he was going to be up. But we can talk about what's going to happen next year. It's all irrelevant because someone's getting hurt here.
Oh, I mean, again, I
probably 2 or 3 of them. And unfortunately, this won't be a perfect world. There's going to be multiple guys that get hurt, which is also why I say that to mention, let's not get ahead of ourselves and want to start trading some of these guys because this thing's a war of attrition. Like, I bring it up all the time. The Marlins, I think it was last year, the year before that, whatever year it was, that I think it was Cabrera we were talking about potentially going after. And then all of a sudden, the Marlins had no pitchers left. The team that had all these arms had none. It can happen really quickly. Let's pump the brakes on some of it, but a lot of it is very, very encouraging.
Yeah. And again, like that's what I'm alluding to. Like this isn't just depth as in there's arms. It's not like
this isn't Luis Ortiz and Roandy Contreras.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to even go back
Priester
further,
and
like the Nick Kingdom of the world. There were some at one point Nick was, but like as it kind of progressed, now outside of his debut, of course. But like, like this is like real talent.
This is like top line. These are top line arms.
Quite a few. And that's why I bring up the question. Like Bubba could easily be a 1B. And then there's Ashcraft. Like you said, we don't talk enough. And it's all still early. Like there's still more we got to see. But it's like so far what you see, there's real talent here. This isn't just also like a guy like getting through. I mean, you see the stuff that they all possess. There's real stuff here. Again, Mike Burrows is probably the lesser of all of them. But like even Johan Oviedo right now is showing some like real stuff. Yeah. And Johan was a guy that you thought coming after that one season, heading into 2024, I guess, like, there's some interest there. That interest is still there, if not even more right now that I'm seeing from him.
But you know what the great thing is? Like, we're in September. It is a lost season. Well, we're not in September yet. We're almost in September. It is a lost season. But we're breeding some competition here. Like, every start these guys make matters. They're battling it out for spots next year. And that's what happens when you have good players and you have talent. You build that competition, and that's how these guys get better. Now, if they could do it at the plate, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. But that's also why Andrew Heaney not, here collecting the check makes sense.
Right.
There's a reason to move forward and move on from him, and they did.
Right.
But there's real talent and pitchers that need to be here, and they are now. So yeah, again, we don't talk enough about Braxton Ashcraft. Unfortunately, again, it's not his fault. Bubba is Bubba Chandler. He debuted on his start. So, but Braxton Ashcraft actually pitched better than Bubba did that day, truthfully. But it's Bubba's debut. He gets all the talk. It just kind of is what it is. But no, I didn't get to watch the game today. But of course, looking at the stat line and everything else, seems as if he pitched real well. But obviously, everything before today's game, the same. So yeah, kudos to Braxton Ashcraft. Of course, Bubba Chandler, we are impressed by him. I do want to see. So again, kind of going to that, I have appreciated how they've worked him into his innings, right? Not a starter, but it's also because I knew what he's been doing in AAA. So like, just get him here, get him comfortable. Now with what I'm seeing, I get it. The time will come, but I think like how you said, I can't wait to see him starting. I can't wait to see him actually have on Monday, Bubba Chandler starts. On Monday, Bubba Chandler's getting the ball. And on Monday, Bubba Chandler's going 6 innings, right? Going to see the order 3 times. And we're going to see the lineup 3 times. And like, let's really see what he has. Because I'm already at the point now seeing this ball roll and him coming in at an advantageous time. I'm kind of already over it. I'm ready. Like, okay. He wants the challenge. He's ready for the challenge. He's the guy that isn't afraid of a challenge. So, okay, let's give it to him.
I'm with you, man. Like, let's ride with Bubba right now.
Right. Yeah. So we're an hour deep. We definitely want to talk about Bubba. We did. Anything else we want to talk about before we go?
There's a lot to talk about, but we've got a lot of shows coming up.
We do. I do. I'll have plenty of time.
You want to talk about Jared Triolo so bad.
No. Well, I mean, I have. And again, we will. But it all sparked when we did a post-game show together. It was like, like the first or second time he was at short, and it's like, this is just crazy. Like, this just shows how dumb IKF short was, because you trade your third baseman and then you think your best option is putting your backup third baseman at short and taking your starting shortstop, putting him at third. Like, what are they doing? But then it just started clicking. And I think you and I were kind of talking about behind the scenes, and it's just like, let's see what he does at short. It's the Brian Hayes situation again. Like, Hayes' profile is better at short. What if they just put him at short this whole time? And it's like, well, this is like Team U, Hayes. What if this happens? And again, at that point in time, I was not anointing anything. It's like, you know what? Okay, I will sit through this and see it. Let's see this through. And all he's done since making that move, Tyler, is being one of the better baseball players in baseball. Also, not just like one of the top NL shortstop. Like, he's one of the better baseball players in baseball right now. That's what he's doing. It's insane. I'm not expecting that, of course. I'm not saying, oh yeah, oh, keep him here for next year because this is what he is. All I'm saying is, you know what? He might be serviceable until KG comes up. And maybe that allows you to spend those monies that you would spend on a fill-in shortstop to go elsewhere. But kudos to Jared Triolo, because he's doing well.
I mean, what he has done over the last month is better than anything I ever saw Ke'Bryan Hayes do. And I know Ke'Bryan Hayes had that stretch where he was very good at the plate, but
outside of his rookie year.
Yeah, but that was a COVID year. That didn't count.
Yeah, but again, ever saw 2020 Ke'Bryan Hayes was that made him like the number 2 prospect in baseball. So
yeah, but the balls were juiced then, so that doesn't count.
Fair.
But yeah, I mean, Triolo has been awesome. I want to see how he finishes this year, but I know you're partially trolling and partially like you do believe it, and how can you not? Some of what we've seen from him, it's not 2023 Jared Triolo that's has a 370 BABIP and just hitting ground balls that keep finding.
Tyler, it was 440.
Whatever it was,
but again, like to your point, right?
He's lifting the ball right now. He's showing the power that I think we knew was in there. And he's playing a rock solid shortstop. Jared Triolo might be a guy. And not just a guy. He might be a guy.
And
or dude.
We don't really need him to be, but yeah, that would be a nice development. It certainly would. And again, it's one of those things where you've always asked, like, where he's got to hit from more power. Like, what's going on? Still, again, I don't need him to be this guy. Don't think he'll be this guy. This is a hot stretch. But in the stretch, it's not, like you said, it's not just this high 440 BABIP fueled singles that, like he's hitting for some power. He's walking. The strikeouts are way down. Like, it's just, this is a different Jared Triolo this year. And I understand like the season began really, really bad as far as stats, but his expected numbers were a lot higher. And also, again, like I mentioned, and you've mentioned time and time again on this part, like everyone in the Pirates have, like, their expected stats are better. They're underperforming in that sense. So is that maybe just a part issue? Is that just like, hey, these expected stats are just, there's something wrong, they need recalibrated, or is there something there? And it seems all coming together. But also, again, his 440 BABIP in his 2023 season was like, okay, I'm not going to fall for this again because that happened. Well, his BABIP right now is 259. It's 30 points below the league average BABIP. Like, he's not doing this by BABIPing his way. Now, his numbers aren't exactly where they were in total in 2023 either, but again, it's not as if like this is all happening because he's just BABIPing. The guy's walking. He's walking a good bit. I mean, right now is almost a 12% walk rate. His strikeouts under 19%. Where in 2023 also, like, he struck out over 30% of the time. So yeah, like he's striking out 30.3% of the time and has a 298 batting average with a 440 BABIP. Like, that's not sustainable. All we're asking was, hey, can he beat Ke'Bryan Hayes? Right now, he's performing. So again, that's just where I'm at. from what I said from there still remains. I just want to see the rest of the year how it works out. But it couldn't have gone any better from the moment I said, I'm interested.
We could also be talking about a 20 stolen base guy. Like, he's got 9 stolen bases in 79 games. Like, this could be a 20 stolen base guy too that's playing solid defense at short. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it again. I gotta stop. I'm talking myself back into Jared Triolo. I gotta stop. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Come on, Tyler.
I hate
There's
you.
room. Come on, Tyler. There's room. And if you do it before September 1st, no admission fees.
And I love Jared Triolo. I've been a Jared Triolo guy. I can't get fooled again.
I get it. I get it. The whole thing too is like, I don't want this to be the settling for third. I don't want this to be like the, hey, we have Team U, Brian Hayes at home. Let's just save $6.7 million, or whatever it ends up being, to have Jared Triolo here. The fact that he can play short is what makes it intriguing. And the fact that you have the number 1 prospect in baseball who's a shortstop who has a potential of being here next year is what makes it intriguing. This could be a competent stopgap until he comes up. Again, you're thinking like, I have a finite amount of funds and I have to also spend that on a shortstop for next year because Connor Griffin may or may not be here. If Jared Triolo can say, hey, save money, use me, and be competent until then, that could really help out a team. Because again, that might allow you to be able to invest in other places that you couldn't because you had to spend probably $5 million on an IKF. And that's what I'm saying. So like, really, if Jared Triolo can just be IKF for next year, he might be able to save you $5 million that you can use elsewhere. And that's why it's important to me, because this team needs real options elsewhere. Now, if he can be better than IKF, then that's just a sweetener. And then if, Connor Griffin does come up and Jared Triolo becomes that actual utility guy and can be can we say it like a J-Hay value wise? Not going to do J-Hay things, but like, could he be a 2-win player as a utility guy? That's value. This show should be titled Getting Ahead of Ourselves.
I mean, and just to wrap it up real quick on Triolo, but the thing he does by playing shortstop the way he has at this point and showing that he might actually be able to handle it over there if he can continue to hit at a decent clip, it's a hell of a lot easier to find a bat for third base than it is a shortstop. And if Triolo were starting at shortstop every day next year, or at third base every day next year, you're not finding that bat for shortstop. You have a lot better of an opportunity to find that bat at third base than you do. If Triolo can just stick there somehow. I'm doing it again, Donardo. I'm doing it again. Stop me. I'm done. I'm shutting up.
Free admission. Only 4 more days left. Hop on board.
I'm done. I've been on this bandwagon so long. I'm done.
It's okay. There's
and
no
I love
shame.
the guy.
No shame. No shame, Tyler.
I desperately want him to be good. I need him to be good. We need him to be good.
I don't even need to be good. Just adequate. But if he is good, I'll take it.
We kind of need good.
Again, good to be great. But if he can just be adequate, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, if he can be adequate, if you can not have to spend funds on a shortstop for next year, because Jared Triolo can fill that need. That can help this team in a lot of ways. If he can be good, then that's just icing on the cake.
We'll see what happens here. I'm gonna pump my brakes. I'm gonna calm down a little bit. I love everything he's done. He's been really good. He's probably been he'll finish the year probably as like, I don't know, probably top 2 in WAR for the Pirates somehow after being awful for 3 months. So Yeah, I mean, go Jared Triolo. I love you, buddy. Let's give me something to hold on to for next year, my friend.
Can I say one last thing?
What?
He's 2 points below O'Neal Cruz and
Yeah,
Whitworth's
that's more of
graded
an
plus.
O'Neal Cruz problem than a Jared Triolo plus.
I don't care. He is 2 points below O'Neal Cruz. What if it was 4 months ago and I told you that on August 27th, Jared Triolo will be 2 points under O'Neal Cruz and Whitworth's graded plus?
I'd say, holy hell, what went wrong?
Yeah, I would too. And you're also not wrong. But
Yeah.
that's where we're at in this day and age right now of Pittsburgh Pirates. We are O'Neal Cruz is a 10% below average hitter in baseball. And Jared Triolo is one of the best hitters in baseball right now in August. Love it. All right, we out of here?
Yeah, my AirPods died like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here then. We love you all. Just like Matt said, like the video. Go ahead and subscribe. Join our Patreon. Join our YouTube memberships. We also have a special treat coming out. I think on Monday we're going to release it. Tyler, can you even hear me? Do you want to tell them what we did tonight?
Yeah, we had a nice little chat with Pirates amateur scouting director Justin Horwitz.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming out. When did we decide on again?
I think Monday evening-ish. TBD. Just like Jared Triolo's downfall.
Yeah, we kicked a couple days around, but a lot of good discussion in there. We've been I think all Pirates fans have been very pleased with what Justin Horwitz has done as scouting director in these last 2 drafts. Get to hear a little bit of insight, hear what it's like to be in the draft room. A lot of good discussion.
Yeah.
And he promises us that they are trying their hardest to win too.
So, but for
it
real,
was really
it was
good
good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, we'll release that on Monday, I think. Until then, we have post-game shows every single day. So you get to hear us some more. So with that said, everybody, thank you again. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in, whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucs.